1 year ago, I made this video about the Extras Academy Survival Guide, and back then it had around 18 chapters. And right now it has around 82 chapters. And season 1 just wrapped up. And apparently the story is about to wrap up, so there's only an epilogue left. So before the epilogue starts, I just want to talk about my thoughts on this season. This manhwa, honestly, it's really good. The story is really good, also coupled with amazing art. But what I noticed about this manhwa is that even though it has honestly an amazing story, there was just one thing that kind of stuck out to me, and it's the fact that there is just so many female characters in this manhwa, right? And I'm not talking about like normal female characters, right? But specifically love interests. There is, I think, like 6, maybe even, I'm not sure, 7 female characters who are to a certain degree romantically involved with the main character. At the beginning of the story, it was originally like 3 characters, and I think at that time 3 characters were enough. I think 3, maybe even 2 were like a sweet spot. It was like, okay, that's enough. But they just kept on increasing. Now, like, truthfully speaking, this doesn't actually make the story bad or anything like that, but it does take like away some points from the story. Maybe this is honestly spoilers, but I think my prediction based on how season 1 ended, I think they'll start taking away some of the love interests from the story. Now, according to the people who've read the novel, the man was actually doing a pretty well job in terms of adapting the story, even though they did change some things here and there, and they apparently even changed like one major plot point, but it's actually not like that big of a deal. Or I guess more accurately, it would be like it wasn't a bad change. Now, because there are way more female characters than male characters in the story, it's just, I probably can count on one hand the amount of memorable male characters in the story, and in fact the memorable female characters are probably like double digits. Now, under normal circumstances this probably wouldn't really matter, but because half of them are love interests, that's when it kind of feels off. And I guess the story's main demographic is guys, so it kind of makes sense. But something that felt good about the story was the fact that it felt like 2 different stories merged together. Basically, the main character of the novel, I don't know how to explain it, but the main character of the manhwa went into a novel, right? So that novel already had a main character. On top of that, the main character of the manhwa. So there's like 2 main characters, quote unquote. Obviously, we get to follow the person who transmigrated into the novel, but I feel like you can actually just honestly write another manhwa about the other side of the story, which is the original main character, and honestly, it would still be interesting, because in some scenarios, the 2 main characters' paths honestly like intertwine with each other and then like detach from each other. Like, obviously what each main character does in the story has an impact on the overall world. So like when the main character that's transmigrated into the world does something, it obviously affects the other main character, and when the other main character does something, it also to a certain degree affects the other character. I don't know if that all made sense, but what I'm trying to basically say is that there's basically like 2 POVs in the story. One POV that we are watching, and the other POV is just behind the scenes, and that other POV could have its own complete manhwa. And honestly, I think more manhwas should do this. Just like, if they make a good story, just build a universe around the story, and like maybe not make it as complicated and obscure as the Lookism universe. I literally don't know much about the Lookism universe, but from what I've seen and heard, honestly it's just too much. Another funny thing about the story is that this whole story, so far at least, is contained within an island. And I'm not talking about a huge island either, it's literally just a normal sized island. So they contain the story within a small area, and that's honestly a strong point for this model. And so because the area is so small, you're literally familiar with like most of the locations. And another good thing about this manhwa is the fact that the main character himself isn't actually that strong. Kinda considerably weak compared to all the other characters. But the main important thing I feel is that he knows how to form relationships and bonds with other characters so they can lead them, and that is mainly his power. So this manhwa has its pros and cons, and we've talked about both of them. And honestly, it's one of my favorite ongoing manhwas right now. I've been reading it ever since it came out, ever since I made a video about it 1 year ago. I've been reading it basically every single week. And honestly, it's an achievement that it's even reaching an end, because a lot of manhwa do not have an end. They have a beginning, but no end. They're either cut short and they make some sloppy ending, which is not the real ending, or they just stretch it for money until it snaps. I'm honestly super excited for this manhwa to actually get an end. Right, I'm not really excited that it's ending, but I'm happy that it actually has a proper ending, and I don't have to go look for the web novel to find the ending. But I am kind of speaking a little bit too soon here, because season 1 just ended and the manhwa was gonna go on hiatus to I don't know when, so fingers crossed that they don't shoot us in the leg. Also, I'm so sorry for not uploading for 5 months. I was kind of busy. And finally now I have some free time, so I decided just why not make a video about a manhwa that I've been reading. But like on that topic, I also have a bunch of other manhwas that I'm reading every single week. So if you're interested to see me talk about them, drop a comment down below. But yeah, that's about it.